Hello, my name is Ibrahim Ahmad. I'll show you how to make a 7-segment display. In this video, it will show you step by step how to make it. Some list of materials that you will need is a 7-segment LED, resistance switch, IC chips, breadboard, pen, paper, and a computer. Some tools you'll need is that you'll need to download Logic Media, Logic Friday, and fritzing. The first step in making a 7-segment display is that you need a plan and a timeline. By having this, it will help you be more organized and be more efficiently. You could do this by having a daily log. By having a daily log, you could record your goal and what you did actually. This will help you do more compared to not having a plan and a set goal for each day. The next step is making a truth table. For a truth table in a 7-segment display, there are 4 outputs, which are labeled capital A, B, C, D, and there are 7 outputs. Well, you might ask, what is a truth table? A truth table shows how logic circuit's output responds to the various combinations of the input using logic 1 for true and logic 0 for false. All permutations of the inputs are listed on the left and the outputs are listed on the right. So in a 7-segment display, let's say for the first one, it's the 0. For 0, you make A, B, C, D, E, F as high, or you make G as low. And you do this for the next 10 labels, and the rest of them would be all X's, which would mean they're unneeded, but they could be used for all the outputs. This is very good for the next step because you could use all the X's and all the letters, which will help you a lot for the next step. Just before the next step, you should organize your outputs into this thing shown in the image. You can see that all the algebra, all the Boolean expressions are organized for each outputs that they're in. So like let's say A, all the Boolean expression for the output A is on here and so forth. And remember for the X, it is for pretty much you could put them in all of them. The next step would be simplifying the expression. You have 2 options. Either you could use Boolean algebra or you could use a Karnaugh map. For this 7-segment display, I would recommend using a Karnaugh map because it is way easier and the answer it's more higher to be right compared to using Boolean algebra. You might be asking, what is a Karnaugh map? A Karnaugh map is a practical method of grouping together expression with common factors and therefore eliminating unwanted variables. The Karnaugh map can also be described as a special arrangement of a truth table. So as you can see in the image, you see that the highs that are beside each other are on the same row. They are grouped together as one expression, which will be more easier compared to making a 7-segment display with a bunch of expression, which will be way harder. Another way of grouping them would be if they are in the same column as each other, or 2 columns beside each other, or 4 in a row, or 2 in a row, but you can't do 3 in a row. You could also see the X being plotted on each one of them. That's what should be done. Next step is using Logic Friday. With Logic Friday, you first input your truth table and then you click minimize to minimize Boolean expression. With this minimize Boolean expression, you could compare the expression you gained from the K-maps to this one. It should be alike. Then after this, it is the fundamental part in your 7-segment display, which is pretty much the base, is that you map this into gates. This will give you a mapped gate that will tell you how it should or be arranged when you're making this display. Next step, using the logic maps that you have gotten with Logic Friday, use the program called Multimedia Logic to map these gates. This program will allow you to see if these gates actually work in your 7-segment display. This is pretty much making your mini display online. you are able to see if your 7 segment display would work if you make it on a breadboard or not. The next step is using an IC chart. With this, you're able to be more organized and be able to know how many IC chips you'll need when you're actually building your real 7 segment display on a breadboard. And it is very good to also print an IC chart that is seen above in the above picture. This is because it will tell you where your output wires will go and where your input wires will go. This will help you a lot when you're actually building the actual circuit. The next step is using a program called fritzing. This is an optional step, but it's very helpful. This is because when you're actually building your circuit, this program fritzing will help you a lot. This is because fritzing is a program that you literally make your 7 segment display online. There's a red board, and then you put the wires and the ICs and put it out in the inputs and into the 7 and into the display. This is good because it will tell you your mistakes and if you have problems or anything, and it will give you a smoother run through when you're actually making the circuit. The next step is the actual building of the circuit. You could use the Logic Friday multimedia or your fritzing to help you out in this process, because this is what you pretty much have to make in real life. By doing this, it is good to use your IC chart to know where your inputs and outputs go and where your wires will be located. When you're making the circuit, make sure the wires are short and it goes in correctly. And because if it doesn't go in correctly, it will mess up your circuit, and make sure you don't strip the wire too long because that could also mess up your circuit. When you're done with making your circuit, head to the next step and the final step, which is troubleshooting. In troubleshooting, there are some safety concerns, which is make sure you don't touch the wire when the voltage is on. Be careful so you don't get shocked or anything. While troubleshooting, it is the hardest part of this assessment. You connect your breadboard to the LED and switches and the power supply. By doing this, you will test if your 7 segment display is correct and if it works or not. If it's incorrect, you could go back and see what's the problem and fix it. So this is the end of my step-to-step documentation on how to make a 7 segment display. I hope you all enjoyed.